I'm standing on top of the Rosa Couture Mountains in Russia. The sun is shining, not a cloud in the sky. It's warm, but I feel so cold, as if I will never feel joy. My mind is foggy. No mantra in the world can distract the panic I feel crawling over my body. Standing on the starting gate, I look down at the snowboard course at the 2014 Paralympic Winter Games. I'm dressed in blue stars and stripes, frozen slush under my feet. Is this even snow, I wonder? It feels like quicksand. I brace my hands against the gate. Racer ready, I hear. Seconds later, I'm propelling forward, sliding over the slush. And I'm almost to the corner, but I'm slipping. I feel my body falling. In a single second, I've lost control, unable to stop the impact as my body crumples underneath me. At first, my muscles freeze, and then they push me back to my feet. I force myself to keep going, even though I know it's already too late. Inching across the finish line, I look up at the scoreboard. I've finished in 8th place, a solid gap between my time and a medal. I failed. It wasn't enough. That day, I experienced a perfect storm. It had been my destination and focus for so many years, yet from the moment I woke, nothing seemed right. The competition season had worn on me, and my body felt drained. I'd been in the athlete village for 2 weeks, just waiting and watching the events around me, but with little to occupy my thoughts. I had hyperanalyzed the course, the conditions, the media, and every detail of that day. I felt no excitement, just dread and frustration. Perfect storms don't happen every day. But when they do, they hit everything at once. They are devastating, frustrating, and emotionally traumatizing. The moment is difficult to see past, and it challenges our perspective of life. This storm left me heartbroken and took me back to the last time I felt my world shatter. For my 8th birthday, my brother gave me a music box, and when I would open the lid, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz would pop up in the middle and spin. The tune it would play was Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Skies Are Blue, and the dreams that you dare to dream really do come true. Just 5 months later, in July, I was diagnosed with a rare form of bone cancer. My mother thought I was experiencing growing pains. Like any child, I was active during the day, but I would curl up into her lap and cry from the pain at night. After a few weeks, a lump formed on the inside of my right kneecap, and an X-ray at our local physician sent us hopping from one doctor to the next, looking for answers. At the Children's Hospital, I was admitted for a biopsy, and when I regained consciousness, they had confirmed that I had Osteogenic Sarcoma and started aggressive chemotherapy. Prior to the modern medical advances of today, treatment was so brutal, so shocking, that standing here, I don't recall the first few months in the hospital. entire pieces of my childhood erased. In October, the doctors informed me that my best chance of survival was to amputate my leg. As an 8-year-old girl, I sat on the edge of my bed, tying my shoes, tears streaming down my face. And I looked up to see my mother standing in the doorway, and she said, "I can't make this decision for you." In that moment, I decided that I wanted to live and that my future would be my responsibility. By my 12th birthday, I was alive, but I felt like a shell, existing without purpose or direction. In high school, I attempted to live as normally as possible. I tried out for the basketball and the volleyball team, but I always fell short. I wasn't fast enough, and I didn't fit in with my peers. I was trying to be someone that I no longer was. In 2002, the Winter Olympics came to my hometown of Salt Lake City, Utah. And as I watched the snowboarders boost out of the halfpipe, I had this overwhelming feeling of awe. My brother didn't give me that music box so that I could dream my life away. He gave me that box as a reminder that I will always have the power to do great things. As a young girl, I learned that it is not enough to survive. Life is intended to be lived fully, joyfully, and with intention. Watching those snowboarders, they seemed like people who were enjoying life, setting goals, exceeding them, and appreciating all of the moments in between. I allowed myself to feel the power of that moment and opened my mind to the idea of snowboarding. I thought, I want that freedom, that intention. When I first approached the Adaptive Sports Center and told them I wanted to snowboard, I was told, no. That's impossible. You see, the technology that allows me to participate in action sports today didn't exist at that time. Talking about it seemed like science fiction. I was told that I could try, but I would never be good at it. So as a young girl, I waited. Even to me, the concept fiction, the idea so disconnected from my reality that I didn't actively pursue it. I kept pushing through life, but that dream was always in the back of my mind. One evening, I was a senior in high school, I received a phone call. A physical therapist at Shriners Hospital was putting together an adaptive sports camp. And he had found my name through coworkers. He said, "Let's try it. What's the worst that could happen?" I felt stunned. Up to that point, my life had been a series of bad news. You have cancer. We need to amputate your leg. You failed the science exam. You didn't make the team. And yet, that night, someone was giving me the opportunity to try the impossible. My first day on snow was unbalanced, uncoordinated. No movement I made was intentional. My instructor had to hold my hand back and follow me down the hill because I couldn't keep my own balance. The prosthesis that I learned how to snowboard on didn't have a knee joint. It was locked at a 30-degree angle that would allow me to balance and turn the board. It didn't absorb shock, and it didn't bend when I would fall. It would only let me strap the board to my feet and slide down a mild slope. It could have been a horrible experience, but I enjoyed it because I remembered that feeling of awe I felt watching the Olympics. I enjoyed it because it was supposed to be impossible, and I had proved that it wasn't. That day, snowboarding became my purpose. I started competing on a whim in 2006, and 3 years later, I became the first adaptive snowboarder from the United States to compete internationally. Looking back on that time, it seems so simple. I started living with purpose because I had found a place in this world where I could carve my own path. What a dream. A month before the 2014 Paralympic Winter Games, I competed at the World Championships in La Molina, Spain. It was the kind of day that you dream about as an athlete, because I was riding well, and everything came together in the right moments. I won a bronze medal that day, and it is one of the most important wins of my career because it was the first time that I felt like I knew what I was doing. That competition gave me hope that I had a chance at a medal in Sochi. Only after the storm did I realize that it was a glimpse of the athlete I could become. Elite sports require everything you have, physically, mentally, and emotionally. As athletes, we strive for it, we work for it, we sacrifice through years of dedication and discipline. In some ways, I was ready for Sochi, but in others, I lacked preparation. Snowboarding was added to the Paralympic roster less than 2 years before the Games, and for me, that wasn't enough time. In the rush to prepare, I lost my focus. In my head, I had built the Games up as this monumental moment, a measure of my success, my ability, even the definition of who I was as a person. It wasn't something I was consciously aware of, but I had extreme expectations. I thought that the world had extreme expectations. And I began measuring myself up to something I wasn't prepared to achieve. Comparing myself and my results to the results of others. All of us have moments when our accomplishments define us. I am a speaker, a snowboarder, a medalist. And when we don't achieve our accomplishments, we become vulnerable to our own judgment. And that judgment has the ability to spiral out of control, slowly destroying what we've built. My self-judgment made me question my goals and my ability to achieve them. Unchecked, it shattered my self-confidence, leading me to question every aspect of my life. Following the Games, I felt angry because I wasn't receiving the same recognition and opportunities as everyone else. If it had simply been the fact that I hadn't performed well, I think I may have been able to accept the circumstances. But it was all the things that I couldn't control. The weather, the quicksand like snow, even the media. It wasn't what I had prepared for. Anger and envy has the power to destroy. But I have learned that we have the ability to overcome our quirks. We have the ability to overcome the characteristics that we don't like about ourselves. In the last few years, my life has changed swiftly. I have moved countless times, challenged my reality. I have traveled the world and won medals. I have learned that my accomplishments do not define me. I am a woman who is stronger than she knows. I am honest, forgiving, stubborn at times, but a hard worker. I appreciate change. I get anxious over the logistics. Like you, I have insecurities, but I have learned not to worry what others think. I have been broken, and I have been humbled, yet I am stronger. In 2006, at the end of the season, I took the all-around gold in women's border cross. And it is an honor to know that it didn't come easy. I will always have quirks that need polishing. But I have carved my own path, written my story, and followed a unique journey. I want you to know that your story will continue to unfold in its own time. It will be different from those before you and those after you. But your journey is only yours to take. Isn't it about time to own your journey, to write your story, and to carve your own path? Thank you.